Hello everybody and welcome back to the One Channel. I'm Jack Mather and today we're doing another Paleo Showdown. In this episode we've got some different ones. I know I didn't really want to make another one of these directly after my last one, but I had another video that I was going to make. I was just going to talk about kind of everything that's happening in the world and kind of, how people are overreacting a little bit to 2020, saying it's the worst year ever. Obviously it's not. It's absolutely ridiculous to say that. But I won't get into that. But I decided to scrap that video because I just started rambling and I didn't really want to do that. So instead, we've got another Paleo Showdown, and today we have another 6 animals divided into 3 different fights, and they're going up against each other. We've got some really interesting ones. The last video was actually quite popular amongst you guys. You really seemed to enjoy it. So a few people commented or messaged on my Discord server, gave some... well, they gave a lot of fights, actually. I had to really sift through them to find ones that I thought would be interesting. Not that the others aren't interesting, mind you, but just the ones that I thought were a bit different and kind of out there and would provoke my mind a bit more. So, first off, we have, this one's from O.N.E Charles Marsh. Great name. He suggests Smilodon versus Panthera, or Panthera atrox, I should say. That's the North American lion. So, a saber-toothed cat versus the North American lion. Now, I feel like I've covered this before, about a year ago on my channel. This seems familiar. I think, by the way, I believe this is my 100th video. It could be. So celebrate. Happy 100th video, me. For the sake of this video, I'm going to say that the Smilodon is a Smilodon fatalis, as that's probably the cat that would encounter a North American lion, as it lived in North America in the same area as the North American lion did. And their fossils have been found in the La Brea tar pits together, so they definitely encountered each other. So we've got Smilodon fatalis going up against Panthera atrox. This is interesting because you've got the biggest cat that ever lived going up against arguably the most powerful cat that ever lived in terms of, muscle and sort of brutality. I would say, by the way, if you want to post your own suggestions for a battle, go to my Discord server. There's a link to that in the description of this video. Join up and just post them in the paleontology discussion channel in that server, and I'll get around to that at some point. But probably. So here's what I think would happen. Smilodon probably wouldn't attack first. Smilodon had to be a bit more careful with how it fought than Panthera did. But, I mean, look, going to the whole fragile canine teeth thing with Smilodon, a lot of people, they mentioned, every time Smilodon's in a fight, they mentioned that, it had fragile canine teeth. They weren't that fragile, they just couldn't bite into bone. So, I mean, a Smilodon could definitely just go crazy and bite at a lion. It's not going to, break its teeth, or at least it probably wouldn't. I mean, I've got a Smilodon skull in my possession. Believe me, I've tested out its teeth. They're tough. They're thick. They're not that thin as a lot of people believe they are. But they are still very, very delicate. It can't really bite into bone with full force or it'll break its teeth. That is true. So the lion definitely has a bit more of an advantage there. Oh, this is interesting because, I mean, they're relatively similar animals. Smilodon was probably a bit more evolved, a bit more specified, more of a niche predator than the lion was, the North American lion. Wow. Look, at the end of the day, a lion can get more hits on a Smilodon than a Smilodon can on a lion. So I think if the Smilodon, it depends who bites first. If the Smilodon gets the first bite, the lion's done. Smilodon bites that thing once. If it's in a soft spot, the throat or the stomach, that lion is going to die. There's no ifs or buts about that. But if the lion gets the first bite and keeps that bite and gets a hold of the Smilodon, lions aren't very good at killing other cats. Because their whole, at least I'm referring to African lions now because it's kind of the only thing I can refer to. We don't really know a whole deal about the North American lion if it was different to in terms of its behavior to an African lion. African lions suffocate their prey, and they target the vertebrae. So I think the Smilodon would win this fight. At the end of the day, it's going to be a pretty close fight, but it would be pretty quick. I think the Smilodon would win it. I think it's got the powerful forearms. I mean, it doesn't even need to use its head, to be honest. It can just thrash that thing around. Yeah, I'm going to give this fight to the Smilodon here, after Neil Charles Marsh. But that was a really, really good one. That was an interesting one. Next up, we have from Lara, a longtime member of the Discord server, polar bear versus Utah raptor. And Utah raptor obviously is extinct. It's from the early Cretaceous period. It was a theropod dinosaur, a dromaeosaurid dinosaur, and it was very, very, very big. It was a very powerful predator, and
if you, I am of course making the assumption that the Utah raptor is not totally covered in feathers, which it probably was in real life. So I guess that's a factor. Because that's probably how polar bears have fur. But
that was from Lara, so I appreciate that, Lara. Again, if you want to send in these suggestions, go join the Discord server. Now we have our last battle for the day, and this one was sent in by my good friend Dat Boy, who's on another long time member of the Discord server. And he is pitting, I mean, you're going to want to sit down for this. This is going to be good, all right? Sit down, get a drink. This is the most amazing, incredible battle you'll ever hear in your entire life, okay? He is pitting Spinosaurus aegypticus, okay? Gigantic theropod dinosaur, enormous piscivorous predator from the early Cretaceous period. He's pitting Spinosaurus against a wombat. Now, I understand that your mind may race to conclusions about this immediately. Now, look, all jokes aside, he sent this in for a bit of a laugh, and to be fair, this may not be as one-sided as you would initially think. Because here's the thing about the wombat versus Spinosaurus. Okay, let's look at the advantages of each animal. So a wombat is a marsupial. It lives in Australia, and it is an extant animal, so it is still alive, doing very well, actually. It has a bony plate over its pelvis, which means that, if a predator comes up behind it and tries to bite onto its bum, you just get a mouthful of bone, and it effectively breaks their teeth. Wombats are also very powerful diggers. They're very good diggers. They're very heavy. They're not very smart, but that's okay. That doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be. It's a wombat. It doesn't need to be smart. It's got those powerful forelimbs. Okay, so that's the wombat's advantages. Some disadvantages, I guess, are that it's not very fast. It's a very slow animal, and it's also fairly small. Then we have Spinosaurus. Spinosaurus's advantages. It's absolutely massive. It's probably the biggest theropod dinosaur that ever lived in terms of length. It's just ridiculous in size. Absolutely huge predator. Has very powerful forelimbs. It weighed about 7 tons. It was a very, very powerful big predator. It is extinct, obviously. Died out during the early Cretaceous period. I think... The wombat... Here's the thing, though. Okay, these two animals have never seen each other before. I'm not sure the Spinosaurus would actually fight the wombat immediately. It would probably ignore it because the wombat's so small that it's just, it's it's going to take no notice of it. I think the Spinosaurus would really underestimate the wombat. It probably wouldn't even know. You have to remember, the Spinosaurus is from a time when mammals were they just scurried beneath the undergrowth. They weren't as big as wombats back then. So Spinosaurus has no idea what this wombat even is. It's never seen anything like it before. But a wombat might actually recognize some features of the Spinosaurus. Depending on where the wombat is from, if you're getting it from the north, it would probably recognize the Spinosaurus a bit and probably think it's some kind of weird crocodile. I think the wombat would probably be the aggressor, I would say. Because wombats aren't very smart, and they're relatively aggressive animals in terms of, they're actually very dangerous. A lot of tourists and stuff, they underestimate wombats. They can give you a really, really nasty bite, and they'll charge you, and you're in trouble with a wombat. Oh man, yeah, the Spinosaurus. If the wombat bites the Spinosaurus on the hind legs, I don't think the Spinosaurus is going to be able to spin around and grab it. Because it's such a low, small part of its body. It would have to kick the wombat off. The wombat wouldn't give up. The wombat would come back. And the wombat would, look, the wombat would die. Let's be real here. Okay, enough beating around the bush. The wombat's going to lose this one. But it would deal some damage on the Spinosaurus. It would fare a bit better than you would think immediately. So, yeah, I think the Spinosaurus is winning this fight 10 times out of 10, 100% of the time, every time. But the wombat, it'll put up a good fight. So thank you for that submission and suggestion from Dat Boy. And that wraps up this week's tournament, or this week's showdown, Paleo Showdown. So yeah, that was the 6 animals. The first round was Smilodon versus the North American lion. That was from Off-Neil Charles Marsh. The second round was a polar bear versus a Utah raptor. That was from Lara. And the third and final round was a wombat versus a Spinosaurus by Dat Boy. So I appreciate everyone who suggested the animals for this week. And if you want to suggest some animals yourself, you can join the Discord server in the description. There's a link down there. And other than that, subscribe for more videos. I'll try and upload some different content. And leave a like, leave a comment. And I'll see you all next time. Cheers.